my channel. I'm gonna try something out here on my channel. I'm gonna start doing Scary Story Fridays on my channel. Excuse me. And I'm gonna start by saying some childhood stories that happened to me that are true. They're not made up. And my first story is going to be one of my encounters with La Llorna. Now, she is a local legend. In case you don't know her story, she's also known by the Weeping Woman. She's a lady. Her name was Maria. And she was the most beautiful woman in the village. She married a man who later neglected her and her 3 kids that they had together. So he left her and she was left destitute. And one day she saw him and he was already remarried. So she took her children to a river and she drowned all her 3 children. And then realizing what she had done, she regretted it, tried to find her kids. She couldn't find them. They never found her children's bodies. And so she ended up drowning herself. And now she wanders the rivers looking for her children and trying to lure adults as well as children to their demise. So this is what happened to me. When I was about 10, we lived in a house on Salazar Street. And my youngest sister Michelle and me shared a room. We had bunk beds. And the bunk beds were pushed up against this long window. It was like from the ceiling to the floor, but it was a skinny window. The bunk bed was pushed up against that, and it was a Saturday night. The reason why I remember it was a Saturday night, and it was in October, because my mom went out that night, and she left us with my older sister and my middle sister and their friend Ricky. They sent us to bed and everything was fine. We fell asleep. I was on the bottom bunk and Michelle was on the top bunk. And I remember the night being really cold and like really breezy. It was breezy but not windy. And we fell asleep and everything. And then I heard Ricky's voice that woke me up, and it said, Loretta, go back to bed. I don't know what you're doing standing in the hallway. And I was like, what? Because I was in the bed. I was laying down and I had just woke up with his voice. So I was laying on my stomach. And when I got up and turned around, there was a lady all in black. She was floating on top of me. And I was so scared that I couldn't even move. I couldn't even scream. I couldn't do anything. I was just looking at her, and it just gives me the creeps now, just the chills. It was so scary. So I was looking at her, and when she was floating, apparently wherever she was at was like a lot of wind, because I could see like a lot of material floating, and her face looked like a skeleton, but with like stretched skin on her face. That's the best way I could put it. The skin was like leather, and her eyes were like bloody red but not glowing. And her hair was long. It was just as long as the material that was on her body. And she had these long bony hands that looked like she had rheumatoid arthritis, and they were like all bent and just all deformed, and with the longest claw-like nails I had ever seen. And she got her hands, and she had this like wicked smile on her face. She got her hands and ran him down my back, and I let out the most blood-curdling scream that my 10-year-old body could make. And my sister and her friend and my other sister came running into the room, and I was hysterical crying, and they flipped on the light, and I looked, and on the window had been moved up and the screen was removed. It was lying on the floor outside in the grass. And they were like, what's wrong? What's wrong? And I was hysterical. They got me some water and I was trying to tell them what had happened after I calmed down. And they were like, oh, you're just doing it to scare us because it's, almost Halloween. And I was like, no, I'm not. So, Ricky said, well, what were you doing in the hallway? And I go, that was not me in the hallway. And he goes, I saw you in the hallway and you went into the bathroom. And then like a few minutes later, we heard you screaming. And I was like, that was not me. That was not me. It must have been like some kind of distraction. I don't know what that was. We never found out what that was, but it looked just like me. And so after everything had calmed down, I got up to go use the bathroom. And my sister, Cindy, screamed. She just screamed. And I go, what's wrong? What's wrong? And I try to turn around and she goes, your nightgown is shredded in the back and you have long bloody scratch marks on your back. And I was like, yeah, right, because I didn't even feel it. I don't know if it was the adrenaline in my body or what it was that I didn't feel any pain, but I did not feel it. So I went into the bathroom with my sister and we took off the nightgown, and sure enough, the whole back was shredded. And I had 3 long gash marks from my right shoulder all the way down to the left side of my waistline. And I still have those scars to this day. They're lighter now, but they are still there. They are huge, long, claw-like scratch marks. I told my mom about this, and she was always like she was like a curing woman. They call them curanderas in Spanish. And she did a blessing over me, and she blessed the house, and we started doing prayers every night. And I still saw her every now and again, but she never did approach me anymore. I was never that close to her anymore. Now that I'm an adult, and since I was like 5 years old, believe it or not, I have been able to see ghosts. I have seen all kinds of strange things that I would like to share with you guys, and I hope you guys have an open mind. I hope you like this story. It's a true story that actually happened to me, and it was one of the most terrifying things I have ever been through as a child. And I hope it never happens again in my lifetime. I hope it never does. So, yeah, I'm going to try doing these stories every Friday. Let me know what you think. And I would appreciate your feedback. Please be open-minded and positive. And if you're not prone to liking scary stories, that's okay. You don't have to listen. But whoever is listening, I hope you enjoyed it. And meet me back here next Friday for another scary story. And I'll try to be more theatrical if I can, but that's not really me. I'm just going to speak from my heart and let you know my experiences. So I will talk to you guys later. Remember to comment, like, and subscribe. And I will see you next Friday for another scary story. Thank you guys for listening. Good night.